I don't like having my shirt off. All right, I'm ready to count. Nah.
Oh. 5.
5.
4. 3. 2. 1.
Play the intro.
Welcome to PnS. Waste your time.
That's it.
Can I have a peppermint? You can have a
peppermint.
Ooh, that's too hot for me. I don't like the peppermint.
You don't like the peppermint?
It's too spicy.
Then why'd you ask me for a mint?
Oh, God. Wait, hold on. Wait.
Did the spiciness begin?
Spoken word song. When did the spiciness begin?
Think about like William Shatner doing it.
When did the spiciness begin? I had this weird vision that we're going to get invited eventually to another podcast con where we headline our own panel with a lot of A-list Hollywood celebrities. And they're going to say, well, what's your entrance music going to be? And we'll say,
you're going to pick that one,
song, the peppermint song. And then we'll come out and we'll twerk on like the table. And the best part is, not only is the song sort of ill-suited for twerking, it ends really quickly, so we could awkwardly just be twerking in the air.
Past the song?
Past the end of the song. And then initially all the people would be like, woo, yeah. And then it would just get kind of lame and we could just continue to do it for like 5, maybe 10 minutes.
Of you coming out to that full song and doing that, and then mine's just a click like bam when I come out. So it's like, here's Pete, and then that song comes out, you do this whole like entrance and dance, and it's like, and here's Steve, bam, and I'm like, oh shit.
just here's Steve.
Yeah. Then I'll do this sound.
We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
And I'll bring the mood down so people know what we're really there for.
No, you just turn it immediately into a history lecture. That's what the people want, Stephen. They want it. They wait 5 or 6 hours in line so you can sit there and you can talk about random niche subjects. Things like that.
One of the biggest podcasts out there is Dan Carlin's History.
Is it? Because it's a history thing?
Because he's like exciting in history.
Yeah, I'm so impressed by the number of YouTube channels that just do like history, like battle reenactments and things like that. Because as a kid, we were still kind of in that like, oh, being smart is gay kind of, era. And so the idea was
constantly.
It's just like now people are spending like real money producing history videos and making a shit ton of money on it. So I'm for it. I'm all for it. I've been watching
it's the Bill Nye idea, right?
Yeah.
Where like Bill Nye didn't know what kind of show to make, and they're like, we'll do like general science because that'll never be wrong and it'll never go out of style. Yeah. And then boom, people just keep watching it. And that's what they do on YouTube now. They just bring up shit that they know everybody's going to look up.
Right. And it's so, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I think ultimately the adaptation of educational concepts that I think it's pioneered sort of like in the age when we were like in middle school, like Bill Nye is a really obvious example, but that shit was fucking on fire, man. Bill Nye days in science class were the best days.
They really were. Unless your teacher made you take the notes, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, they would give you, you remember those?
Enjoy.
Yeah, you remember those things, and I mean, I am talking to a teacher, so maybe I'm about to out you here. They would give you, they would be like, oh, we're watching a video. Yay! Here's a worksheet you have to fill out during the video, and it will only have the answers in the video. And so you couldn't even like enjoy it anymore. You had to sit there and be like, oh, I got to read the questions and try to figure out what's coming up.
I've done
instantly
that,
unenjoyable.
But I only do it when the kids are talking. I use it as like a deterrent. So, like, all right, if you guys start talking, I'm going to pause this video. We go to worksheet mode.
Yeah.
Do you remember like the knockoff of Bill Nye the Science Guy. So it was Bill Nye the Science Guy for us normal kids, and then the weirdo kid was like, "What about Beakman's World?" And they had like that weird giant rat. I fucking remember that.
I don't remember that. I must have come from a privileged neighborhood.
Beakman's World was like, it was like Walmart. I'm so sorry for those who love this, but it was like Walmart Bill Nye, and there was this giant rat. And to this day, I need to rewatch it or something as an adult, but I don't know why there was a giant rat in there.
I mean, that sounds like 90s TV exec being like, put an animal in it, the kids will love it.
Yeah, I found, and he was creepy. It was seriously just a fat dude. It was a fat dude in a rat costume. I'm sending you a picture now.
Beakman's World.
And One Bosses.
Let me see it. I remember seeing this somewhere.
Right? It was like totally terrible. It was like they found a Grimace costume that was not painted purple in the garbage. They're like, let's put ears on this thing, and boom, it's a rat.
They went to the extent of like building a costume for this guy so he would be like full on mouse ears and fur around his head, but they decided to stop at like the full mask because apparently, like, why not just do like a mascot style mouse head at that point?
It was a weird ass show. And to this day, I don't remember anything about it other than being uncomfortable when I watched it as a kid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't remember a whole lot of other deviation. We watched like the Goofy movie at least 50 times when I was in school. And it only takes a couple of times in class. I mean, I think I definitely had some teachers that were, 2 weeks from the end of the year. Nothing's getting done. You're just going to watch movies and play Scrabble. And later on, we actually enjoyed the Scrabble a bit, but it was always just Goofy movie. And
that's weird.
Like, how many more fucking times do we have to watch goddamn Goofy movie? Just turn it off. You could just sit here.
Because I used the last 2 weeks to clean up the room and then the last week to do movies as well.
Yeah.
And this year, because we're allowed to theoretically put things on that are rated G without parents or PG.
PG.
If we vet them. And so I put on a PG movie that's a bit older.
Sure.
I'm going to tell you right now, that movie's not PG anymore.
Is it not?
They
were a little lenient on the grading.
Yeah, like after watching it with one class, which was my older group, I'm like, okay, I'm going to skip some of these scenes for the rest of the class. So I'm actually have to pay attention. Because usually I can just throw it on and not pay attention for the last week of school because nobody's there for school anymore.
Yeah.
But it was Indiana Jones and the Ark of the first one.
Sure.
The Raiders Lost Ark.
I can think of a couple of scenes that were a little racy. I mean, he does kind of like watch a dude get his heart dug out of his chest, which some people might be, offended by.
Well, that's Temple of Doom.
That's Temple of Doom. Which one? Oh, the face melting shit at the end.
That's not even the part. No, just like at the beginning, like there's parts where she's like yelling "God damn" and
sure,
son of a, and like and he's like "son of a bitch." And I'm like, oh my god, I can't. This isn't PG anymore.
Well,
I mean, it should be, but it's not anymore.
It should be.
PG-13.
That's them woke, tranny, communist, Christo-fascist Bidenomics people. Right there.
How was your week, Steve?
It was good till today.
Till today. So you had like a 7-day streak or a 5-day work week streak?
We'll give it a 5-day streak. I mean, it was a decent
crashing
week of work.
down.
Sure.
It was a great night. I saw an old friend, and that was awesome. And we went to this place called Ponchos, and their logo is a sombrero.
Right.
So already I'm like, okay. I eat there, and I'm everything's fine. We're talking and stuff, and then we go our separate ways. And the minute I get in the car, my body does the gurgle.
Too awkward to go back now, right? You can't go back in the restaurant.
I had to decide quick. So I got in my car like, you know what? I'm going to go to because I'm too anxious to go just anywhere for the most part. I really have to go. So my go-to if I'm in public in that area is Barnes & Noble because nobody uses that restroom.
Sure.
It's always clean.
Sure.
So
that seems kind of surprising. All the people just reading the books for free. They don't use the bathroom.
Nah, I never have issues in there. So my plan was to go in there. I get in the car and I drive maybe 20 feet.
Okay.
And my body decides at this point, no, man, all those years of you not pooping at high school because you're afraid of gross bathrooms.
Yep. That was the time.
Yep. And so I'm like, okay. So I parked back in the parking lot, walked in, said, hey, I was just here. Where's your bathroom?
Yeah.
I go in there, and it's a one-stall bathroom. There's somebody in the stall.
Oh, God. Suffering.
So now I'm sitting there just and thinking, I really got to go. And I can't rush him because I wouldn't want to be rushed. So the bombs, I'm sitting in there finally, and somebody comes in and he goes, are you okay in there? And I just tell them, legalize nuclear bombs. You know?
I would have been like,
stroking my dick.
Yeah. And so that happens. No big deal. I release the gas and I leave, and we call hazmat. They come in.
great.
So I get my car and I start
Full
heading
bomb
home.
squad, dogs and everybody. Huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, not the dogs. They don't want to kill the dogs. Too much
That's
favors.
true. No, that's fair. That's fair.
So I start heading home, and there's an accident, like on the main road, and they have a detour. So not a big deal. The minute I turn
It's
on
a
the
fucking
detour,
Seinfeld episode now, man.
yeah. The minute I turn on the detour, my low fuel light comes on,
Nice.
and now I'm looking at my GPS.
You did just vent a whole lot of gas.
We just leave the building. Yeah, I did. And so anyways, I'm going there and I see the fuel thing and I see that and I'm like, okay, this says I'm 15 miles from my house and I have 20 miles left before the detour. So I going through the detour and they have us going through a neighborhood. And I know this neighborhood because it's over by my work. So I cut down a different road and this lady comes running at me. Like that's like directing traffic. Like I'm doing something wrong.
It's like tearing down the road at you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all I could think is, you're never gonna catch me. And so I just
This
kept
fuck
going.
boy.
I was like, good luck, lady. So we go past and such, and then what else happened? So on the way home, we did that. I'm trying to remember. There was some more stuff happening. I think that was it. And I finally get home, and then my body was like round 2.
Yep.
And I'm like,
But that is a psychological thing, and I don't think we've put enough money into this. But say we'll go run an errand or something, right? When I'm at the store buying shit, I don't have to pee, and I haven't had something to drink or enough to drink to really have to pee. The second I step foot in my house, I gotta piss. I immediately have to. Okay. And it's like,
I get that.
I can understand it comes from like an area of like, oh, I'm finally home. I can relax. You know what I mean? Like you have those vacations. Maybe you're like spending like a night, maybe it's a wedding or something with strangers or something. You're going to try not to shit that night because you just don't want to
100%.
deal with it in a shared space. So you are kind of banking on the same principle. I'm going to go back home where I feel better about, I feel more comfortable. I feel more free.
yeah.
But there's some sort of subconscious element to it because I swear to God, like I said, I won't drink all that much. Come back home, piss a gallon. It'll be like,
100%.
oh, wow, I really have to pee as soon as I get in the door. Like enough that it's just like get out of my way. I got to go piss. You know what I mean?
The minute I get home, I just feel this TIE fighter like feeling just as I run to the bathroom,
screaming through you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't get it. I really don't.
No. It's
So I feel like
it's
the older I get, the less that's happening. The more my body's like, "You're going now, bud." And I hate that. I hate that so much more.
The miracle of getting old. I will share. We went to Korea for vacation late last year, and the thing about just it's kind of the same principle as like sharing a hotel with people. Like maybe or you're related to, but you maybe don't know super well, whatever. But I never go to the bathroom on planes, and I work super hard to make sure I'm not there. So, but when you're going to say like you're going somewhere internationally, that starts to go out the window because it's like at least 6 to 8 hours. And it seems like you're going to get fed once, maybe twice on the plane. You're probably going to have to shit. I had to shit on this flight going out there like 2 hours in. And I did everything possible to keep myself from having to shit. I didn't eat. I shit before I went on the plane. I did all this stuff. I literally, through force of will, just held it until we got to the airport. I have never been more miserable in my entire fucking life. It physically starts to hurt after a while.
Oh my God.
You can't stand up because you're on the fucking plane, do you?
Yeah, I'll get like the point where I'm holding it so long that my body starts to sweat, and it's just like we're warning you now, buddy.
Yeah,
that's the worst. I blame high school for it. I really do.
Yeah. No, so I didn't
never
eat
use
in
the bathrooms in high school.
Yeah, my big thing was breakfast. I never ate before I went to school. I ate when we got home at, I don't know, 3, maybe 4 o'clock, something like that. That was pretty much
I got fat off their food, man. They fed us so much junk food.
Yeah, they did. And I did have enough burritos to be able to say I know what a high school, like, freezer burrito tastes like. But
I know that those tasted better, even though they were shittier quality than the the quote chimichangas that were, like, more greasy and they were crunchy.
Yep. But, I mean, that's all the flavor, bro. And honestly, the dirtier the microwave, like, you know, when you go out and you get like your charcoal grill or just your barbecue fire, and you know, you'll go into it with some steel wool to just make sure the nasties are off. But the dirtier that barbecue is, the better it tastes. Same thing with a shitty high school microwave.
Like a cast iron skillet at that point, it's been seasoned.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You get all those like hard crusties like burnt onto the microwave from other people's meals. It just adds to yours, brother. That's what it is. That's how it goes. It's just, I want to say something because I'm a little weirded out. But
you know, if you get sweaty and want to take your shirt off, that'd be just fine.
I'm going to start off by, I'm just seeing something weird's been happening to me, Steve.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here and we're talking about poo-poo, right?
We have been talking about that for a little bit.
We've been talking about poo-poo. I've been watching a lot of archaeology shows recently on YouTube. In particular, a show called... it's Time Team, primarily. I don't know if you know Time Team, but...
I don't know Time Team.
They had like a 20-year run, but it's a UK TV show. It's archaeologists. They go out, they find sites, they dig it. And true to form in sort of like early 90s TV, they actually do it. It's not really highly edited. Recently, it's been revived through Patreon, and they've been making new episodes. And I was watching one of the new episodes, and they've been digging something called a fugu. Do you know what a fugu is?
I don't.
Do you know what a fugu is, Steve?
I don't.
Did you know? Did you know?
Did you know? Did you know?
It's Did You Know with Pete. A fugu is not a first century, an Iron Age subterranean man-made cavern. Very commonly found in, I think, southwest England, Cornwall.
Yeah.
And I watched their episode about the fugu. It was really interesting. But like I said, I think I'm a little turned off because we've been sitting here talking about poo-poo, and that rhymes with fugu. And this isn't the first time. This isn't the first time something like that's happened to me this week, right? Because I was watching the video on the fugu, Steve, on the fugu.
Yeah. On the fugu.
Not the first century, the Iron Age man-made ditch of southwest England, the fugu. And as I was watching and finished that video, do you know what came up? Another video for fugu, but this time, Japanese fugu poisonous blowfish.
I was about to say, I just Googled fugu, and that's the first thing that came up for me was the fish. Oh.
See where I'm going with this? Fugu, and they found me another fugu. But that's not all. That's not the only time this has come up. It's come up again. Because after I watched those videos, went to bed, woke up, went out, I went to a place called Juicy Time, which is like a smoothie place near to me. Juicy Time. Have you heard of Juicy Time, Steve?
Mm-mm. I'm learning a lot
do you know what a Juicy Time is, Steve?
I've had a juicy time before. Apparently, it's the same thing.
Juicy time. I was sitting there talking to him, and I was talking to him about their Vitamix blenders. And they're saying they're so powerful they can blend almost anything. They're very strong. And so I sat there and I said, oh, that's funny. You could put like a hamburger in there or something. Make something you drink through a straw. Ha ha. And then the lady looked me dead in the eye and said, yeah, I could definitely make a lot of food goo. Food goo, Steven. I had just watched videos about fugu, which was after I watched videos about fugu. But that's not all. Because I got that smoothie while I was on my way to the community carpentry shop. And when I was sitting there helping them make some cabinets, you know what somebody asked me for? Do you know what they asked me for?
No, what?
Wood glue. Wood glue, Steven. Wood glue. After I got my smoothie and made a joke about food goo. After watching 2 videos about fugu. But then for lunch I had Chinese, Steve. And do you know what they suggested I eat?
Oh, no.
Moo shu.
Oh, never mind. I was way off.
Moo shu pork, Steven. Delicious. Moo shu. After I just got done at the carpentry shop passing around the wood glue. After making a joke about the food goo. After watching videos about fugu. And then I went home, Steven. And do you know what I did then?
What did you do?
Do you know what I did then, Steven?
Did you know? Did you know? Did you know?
It's Did You Know? I watched Star Wars, Steven. I watched Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I was watching the pod racing, Steve. I was watching the pod racing scene, Steven. And I was watching Sebulba. You remember Sebulba, right? He loses. Mm-hmm. He loses to Anakin Skywalker in a twist of fate.
What does he yell?
What does he yell indeed? He says, Poo doo. He said, Poo doo. After I was digesting my Mushu pork, which I got after finishing at the wood shop where we were talking about wood glue. After my joke at the Juice It Up, Juicy Time, whatever, making jokes about food goo. After I had finished watching 2 videos about fugu. And now I come here and I record a podcast and the first thing you talk about, poo-poo. What the fuck? Do you know why I'm concerned about this, Steve?
I'm going to say no.
Do you know why I'm concerned about this, Steve?
Did you know? Did you know? Did you know?
Oh my God.
It's Did You Know with Pete.
But didn't you bring up most of those words?
Now you know.
Now you know. Now you know.
Now you know.
It's Now You Know with Pete. But that's how my week was. So pretty good overall.
Yeah, not bad.
PnS Waste Your Time is a production of Pete and Steve. All characters and events in the show are entirely fictional, and any resemblance to any real people are entirely coincidental.
Well, what I'm trying to say is...
Thanks!